Imagine stumbling upon a horror film so eerie, so unsettling, that it keeps you up at night. But no one's ever heard of it. While most 1960s horror films are praised for their iconic scares, there's a hidden collection of chilling gems that are waiting to be discovered. These forgotten classics are packed with unnerving stories and atmospheric terror that will stay with you long after the credits roll. Ready to dive into the darkness? Here are 18 1960s horror films you missed, but won't soon forget. 1. Hour of the Wolf, 1968. Hour of the Wolf is a haunting psychological horror film directed by Ingmar Bergman. The story follows an artist, played by Max von Sydow, who retreats to a remote island with his wife as his mental state begins to deteriorate. The film blurs the lines between reality and delusion, as the protagonist begins to see strange figures that may or may not be real. The chilling atmosphere is created through minimalistic sets, eerie sound design, and slow pacing. What makes this film truly unsettling is how it captures the fear of losing one's sanity. The unsettling, surreal imagery stays with you long after the credits roll, making Hour of the Wolf a profound exploration of isolation and the darkness within the human mind. 2. Spider Baby, 1967. Spider Baby is a twisted, darkly comedic horror film about the Merry family, who suffer from a rare condition that causes them to mentally regress as they grow older. The film follows the disturbing antics of these family members, who develop violent tendencies as their mental state deteriorates. Directed by Jack Hill, Spider Baby combines eerie horror with unsettling humor. The performances of the child actors are particularly haunting, as they play their roles with a mix of innocence and malice. The film's surreal atmosphere, combined with its bizarre premise, makes it a unique and disturbing experience that blends family dysfunction with genuine horror. 3. Targets, 1968. Targets is Peter Bogdanovich's directorial debut, exploring the randomness of violence in modern America. The film follows two storylines, one about an aging horror actor, played by Boris Karloff, and another about a young man who embarks on a killing spree. The two storylines intersect at a drive-in movie theater where Karloff's character confronts the senseless violence of the world. What makes Targets so effective is its portrayal of the killer as a seemingly ordinary man, which makes the violence feel even more chilling. The low-budget approach gives the film a documentary-like realism, making it a powerful and prophetic examination of the growing violence in society. 4. The Pit and the Pendulum, 1961. The Pit and the Pendulum is a gothic horror film directed by Roger Corman, based on Edgar Allan Poe's story. The film stars Vincent Price as Nicholas Medina, a man driven to madness by the mysterious death of his wife and his family's dark history. As Medina unravels the truth behind her death, he becomes increasingly consumed by guilt and paranoia. The film's setting, which includes a gruesome torture chamber, heightens the sense of dread. Price's performance is captivating, as he transitions from a sympathetic character to someone truly terrifying. The suspense builds throughout the film, especially during the iconic pendulum scene, making it a standout in Corman's series of Poe adaptations. 5. The Face of Another, 1966. The Face of Another is a Japanese psychological horror film directed by Hiroshi Teshigahara, exploring themes of identity and human nature. The film follows a man whose face is disfigured in an accident, and he receives a realistic mask to help him re-enter society. As he wears the mask, he begins to change, using it to seduce his wife and explore darker aspects of his behavior. The film raises profound philosophical questions about what makes us who we are and how our appearance influences our identity. Teshigahara's striking visual style and use of black and white cinematography create a sense of unease, making The Face of Another a deeply unsettling exploration of human nature and alienation. 6. The Premature Burial, 1962. In The Premature Burial, directed by Roger Corman, a man is consumed by the fear of being buried alive. Played by Ray Milland, the character designs elaborate safety devices for his tomb, but they ultimately fail, plunging him into a nightmare of claustrophobic terror. The film taps into one of humanity's deepest fears, the idea of being trapped with no escape. Corman uses the protagonist's growing paranoia to create a suspenseful and tense atmosphere. The chilling visuals of burial devices and the sense of impending doom make The Premature Burial a terrifying and thought-provoking film that explores the fear of loss of control over one's fate. 7. Black Sunday, 1960s. Black Sunday is a gothic horror film directed by Mario Bava, which tells the story of a witch who is resurrected and seeks revenge on her descendants. What makes Black Sunday stand out is its visual style, which is both haunting and beautiful. Shot in black and white, every scene feels like a Gothic painting, with expert use of shadows and light. Barbara Steele plays the dual roles of the evil witch Asa and her innocent descendant Cadia, creating a compelling contrast. The opening sequence, which features a brutal execution, sets the tone for the entire film. With its stunning visuals and eerie atmosphere, Black Sunday remains a defining moment in Gothic horror cinema. 8. The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, 1970. Directed by Dario Argento, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is a film that helped define the giallo genre, combining mystery, suspense, and horror. The film follows an American writer, played by Tony Musante, who witnesses an attempted murder and becomes obsessed with solving the case. The film is a visual feast, with Argento using color, shadow, and artistic framing to create a dreamlike atmosphere. The film's cleverly constructed mystery keeps viewers guessing, while the stylized violence is shocking when it arrives. With its complex narrative and atmospheric direction, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is a landmark film in Italian horror. 9. Night of the Eagle, 1962. Also known as Burn, Witch, Burn. Night of the Eagle is a British horror film that blends supernatural elements with psychological tension. The story follows a psychology professor who discovers that his wife is using witchcraft to improve his career. As he dismisses her practices, everything begins to go wrong, leading to a terrifying exploration of guilt, paranoia, and the supernatural. The British setting adds a layer of social tension, with characters maintaining polite facades while chaos erupts around them. The film's unsettling atmosphere and effective supernatural sequences, especially involving a carnival, make Night of the Eagle a standout in 1960s horror. 10. Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte, 1964. Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte is a Southern Gothic horror film directed by Robert Aldrich. Bette Davis stars as Charlotte Hollis, a woman who is haunted by a murder from her past. The film creates an atmosphere of decay and madness, with a mansion setting that feels like a character in itself. As Charlotte's past unravels, the film delves into themes of manipulation and gaslighting, with Olivia de Havilland's performance as Charlotte's cousin adding depth to the psychological drama. The shocking violence and unexpected twists make the film unforgettable, particularly a decapitation scene that still shocks viewers today. Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte is a compelling exploration of guilt and family secrets. 11. Kwaidan, 1965. Kwaidan is a Japanese anthology horror film, beautifully shot in vibrant Technicolor. Directed by Masaki Kobayashi, the film adapts 4 traditional Japanese ghost stories. Each segment presents a unique supernatural encounter, often grounded in the themes of fate and vengeance. The most haunting story is The Woman of the Snow, where a man breaks a promise to a snow spirit, leading to tragic consequences. The film's visual style is stunning, using artificial sets and carefully crafted imagery to create an ethereal atmosphere. The use of light and shadow in Kwaidan amplifies its eerie tone. The film explores the inevitability of doom, capturing the fragile line between life and death, and remains a powerful example of Japanese horror that blends art with fear. 12. Dead of Night, 1960s remakes. Dead of Night is a classic horror anthology that began in 1945, but during the 1960s, several remakes sought to capture the chilling essence of the original. These films feature multiple tales of terror, with each segment bringing a unique nightmare to the screen. The stories range from ghostly encounters to psychological horror, with the infamous doll segment standing out as one of the most disturbing pieces of cinema. These anthology films excel at building tension through suggestion rather than outright scares, often leaving much to the imagination. The way each story shifts gears keeps the audience on edge, ensuring that the terror lingers even after the final credits. Dead of Night remakes contributed to the growing interest in horror anthologies during the 60s, cementing its place as an influential piece in the genre. 13. Anibaba, 1960s. Anibaba is a unique and haunting Japanese horror film set in the feudal era, directed by Kaneto Shindo. The story follows two women who survive by killing lost samurai and selling their belongings. However, their lives take a dark turn when jealousy and supernatural forces begin to plague them. The film's eerie atmosphere is heightened by its setting in a vast field of tall grass, which acts as a character itself, representing isolation and fear. The conflict between the women, combined with the entry of supernatural elements, creates an intense psychological experience. 13. The mask sequence is especially memorable, leaving viewers with one of the most disturbing reveals in horror history. Anibaba explores themes of guilt, survival, and the supernatural in a way that feels both intimate and terrifying. 14. The Haunting, 1963. The Haunting is a masterful psychological horror film directed by Robert Wise, based on Shirley Jackson's novel, The Haunting of Hill House. The film follows a group of people who investigate the supernatural occurrences in Hill House, focusing on Eleanor, a woman whose emotional instability makes her an easy target for the house's malevolent force. What makes The Haunting so terrifying is its use of suggestion over explicit horror. The absence of visible ghosts and the reliance on sound and atmosphere create a deeply unsettling experience. Eleanor's descent into madness, coupled with the eerie sounds of the house, leaves the audience unsure whether the horror is real or a product of her mind. The Haunting is a timeless classic that uses psychological tension to create one of the most memorable ghost stories ever told. 15. Burn, Witch. Burn, 1962. Burn, Witch. Burn is a British horror film that blends psychological horror with supernatural elements. The story centers on a psychology professor who discovers that his wife has been practicing witchcraft to help advance his career. Initially dismissive of her practices, the professor's rational mindset begins to crumble as strange events unfold, making him question whether witchcraft is real or just a product of his paranoia. The film's chilling atmosphere is heightened by its setting in Britain, where social repression adds to the tension. The climax, involving a children's carnival, offers some of the most unsettling supernatural sequences of the era. Burn, Witch. Burn explores the destructive power of guilt and paranoia, creating an eerie tale that questions the nature of belief and the cost of rejecting the unknown. 16. The Innocents, 1961. The Innocents, based on Henry James's The Turn of the Screw, is a chilling psychological horror film that delves into the world of a governess who believes that the children under her care are being haunted by the spirits of their former caretakers. As she becomes obsessed with protecting the children, the line between reality and madness begins to blur. The film's stunning black-and-white cinematography adds to the sense of dread, using light and shadow to suggest the presence of supernatural forces. The children's unsettling behavior makes their innocence even more disturbing, as their knowledge seems to defy reason. Deborah Kerr's performance as the governess is captivating, as she portrays a woman whose mental state deteriorates under the pressure of her beliefs. The Innocents is a brilliant exploration of fear, innocence, and the unknown. 17. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, 1962. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is a psychological horror film that centers on the toxic relationship between two aging sisters, played by Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. Baby Jane Hudson, Davis, is a former child star who becomes increasingly unhinged, tormenting her wheelchair-bound sister, Blanche, Crawford. The film's disturbing atmosphere is heightened by the actress's powerful performances, particularly Davis, who creates a character that is both tragic and terrifying. The horror here isn't just physical abuse, but the psychological manipulation between the sisters. The film examines the effects of fame, aging, and the destructive nature of family secrets. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is a deeply unsettling exploration of sibling rivalry, fame, and the descent into madness. 18. Carnival of Souls, 1962. Carnival of Souls is a haunting low-budget horror film about a woman named Mary Henry who survives a car accident but begins experiencing strange and supernatural events. Drawn to an abandoned carnival pavilion, she becomes trapped in a mysterious world that blurs the lines between life and death. The film's eerie atmosphere is enhanced by its minimalist approach, using abandoned locations and haunting organ music to create a sense of isolation. Candice Hilligos delivers a standout performance as Mary, a woman disconnected from reality. The dreamlike quality of the film, paired with its unsettling imagery, makes Carnival of Souls one of the most unforgettable horror films of its time. The final dance sequence remains one of the most chilling and iconic images in horror cinema. Ready to face the fear these forgotten 1960s horrors bring? These chilling gems are waiting for you to experience the terror and thrill. Don't miss out on the chance to discover them for yourself. Your nightmares will thank you. Hit like if you've found your next horror fix, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the forgotten corners of cinema. Which of these films will you watch first? Let me know in the comments below, and keep the lights on.